well, I've got my crafting stuff, but there's no point because you can't see it. So I'll just do an older style of stream where I basically talk through what I've been working on. I mean, the stream's meant to be going for 13 minutes, so we're already running late. So due to the fact that everyone's saying hello in the chat, even though it hasn't said on my screen that there's anyone watching, I'm presuming there people are, because otherwise they'd just be cheering for no particular reason. So let us start again and run our way through it. So welcome to episode 24 of the Fizzy Brain live stream. My name is Aubrey Blakeledge. This show is called Anyone for the Cricketers because I'm playing the Cricketers pub in Southampton later on this week. So what is Fizzy Brain? Fizzy Brain is basically a live streaming podcasty vanity project thing where I basically explain to everyone what I get up to as a professional musician in this really weird sort of modern British music industry, which is almost like an industry that's trying desperately to destroy the artwork being created. But I have a very strange outlook on life. I am a very fizzy-brained kind of person, so hence the name. So, as well as creating all kinds of wonderful creative bits and pieces for you lovely people, I get distracted easily by shiny things. So half of this show is what I'm meant to be working on, and half of the show is basically the weird stuff that goes on in the background. Yes, I am shiny because I'm very sweaty. Answering the chat there. So, but normally at this point, before we get into the nuts and bolts of what's going on, I'll be telling you what I'll be crafting in the background, because it's the way that I've realised of utilising my weird little brain, is that if I am fiddling with something or doing something while chatting, I can focus, and I can also use that as time to get on with my other bits and pieces. Now, I was going to be making some more of these lovely badges because I need a load of them, and just sitting down with wonderful, like, slagging offs such as "thy face isn't worth sunburning" and other such things would have been a nice thing to have as well for merch, but also just to dedicating the time to do it. And I think Lily, my wife, good evening, that my wife would not appreciate it if I'm sitting there clunking away with a button maker whilst we're trying to talk. Although, to be fair, I can just fiddle. I just got to make sure that I look at you. So I am going to be, after all that bollocks, I am going to be making badges. So what I'm currently doing, I'll give you a little bit of an explanation, a little bit of radio. So I've got the blanks here, and these are everything is fine badges. So all of them are delightfully coloured with white lettering. And I'm going to be cutting all these out, and then I'll be getting the stampy machine. So if you're wondering if I start swearing, it's because I've cut my finger off. So don't worry, that's the standard thing. I do it a lot. So, okay. So that's what I'm doing in the background. Oh, also, in the chat, please let me know if you are doing some crafting, or whether you're doodling, drawing, knitting, crocheting, which happens a lot, and I love the idea that we can all just do and make stuff together, because that is disgustingly, charmingly fun. And it makes it feel like we've created some kind of weird internet women's institute, but where everyone is welcome. Not that the Women's Institute is exclusive, like sort of exclusion or exclusive, doesn't let people in. You know what I mean? It was set up to give women a space, and is a marvellous institution. So we are in our own Women's Institute. Anyway, oh, someone's setting up paints. Love it. Cracking. So, the show is split up into two parts. What I'm meant to be working on, and what I'm actually working on. So, first of all, upcoming gigs. As usual, if you can get all the tickets from ticketsource/awkwardstrawberry, or just go to aubreyblakeledge.com, and you can find links to all the gigs that are going on, all the shows that are going on, and listings and such. Now, I need to update some of my listings because I've had to, first bit of news is a bit of a bummer, I've had to cancel this week's Awkward Strawberry Cabaret show, because ticket sales have been diabolically bad, and considering a lot of these artists are coming from other parts of the country, I can't pay them a reasonable amount of money to justify all their travel. So what we've decided to do, and also I've been threatening, well, actually I've been saying on here, I say threatening too, it's the wrong phrase, but I've been saying that I'm probably going to try and change Thursdays to either Fridays or Saturdays later in the year, if provided the Hobbit are actually kind enough or give enough of a crap to give it a go. to let me to continue, considering it's basically failing at the moment. And they have given me the go-ahead. They have said, yeah, sure, carry on. I've got a few dates. All of the shows have been rescheduled. One's on a Friday, one's on a Saturday. So we've got... right, so 7 and 8 have changed round. So 7 is now 8, 8 is now 7, because it just works out better that way. So originally, the 3rd of August, 7th of August, beg your pardon, is now the 23rd of August, which is a Saturday, and that features Stevie Simpson. And I've got a couple of new artists, because Tim Summerfield couldn't make it, but Tim is going to be joining us in the new year for some shows, because he's got loads of stuff going on in August. So that show will be Stevie Simpson. I will probably be joining him, because I just love gigging with Stevie anyway. But also, I'm going to get some acts, some local, some further afield, group people along, and that's going to be on a Saturday. So the doors for that will be at 8 o'clock rather than 6, because you know what, it's going to be a Saturday, we can be open a bit later and chilled out, that kind of thing. Crocheting a bottle holder, nice. My mud has arrived, better late than never. Mod, right, get you. Wondering what that was for a second. My muds arrived later? Just reading in the chat, I was just sort of confused there, but Danny actually obviously was meaning mod, but his speech recognition software was being a twat again, which is a common theme for poor old Danny. So, yeah, so that day's been swapped round, so that's now on the 23rd. The gig that was going to be this weekend has moved to the 19th of September, which is a Friday, and will feature B-Sydes, Warren Island and Tom B. Wild. And that's going to be the smashing. I've also decided, for you lovely people here on Twitch, that I'm going to create a little password for you guys to get reduced tickets. Now, I do all kinds of little things for getting people reduced tickets. In fact, it's actually very difficult for people to have full price tickets. So I'm going to, I haven't put the passwords on yet, but after the end of this stream, I'm going to put the password of Fizzy Brain, all one word, onto all of the Awkward Strawberries. So if you want to get in for considerably less, it'll be a tickets marked as a £5, but it ends up working about being cheaper than that. I've got to work it out because they add costs and extra things. So yeah, you'll get a discounted ticket if you go through here, because I realise I've got to start giving you lovely people on Twitch some little bonuses. And if you're not on Twitch and you're watching this on YouTube in the future, see what happens if you follow on Twitch. You see that? Do you know what you get? Free stuff. So follow me on Twitch. It's not that hard. Just search for Aubrey Blakeledge. Actually, search me on everywhere with Aubrey Blakeledge and you'll be able to find me. Going to drag victims to this. That's the thing. We sort of knew this would happen. This would be the one where on the day everyone would turn up, but I couldn't take the risk with the bands, and they're all making their travel arrangements. I do appreciate that. So, before we go on to other things, Melanie, once you've got the bottle holder crocheted, please send me pictures. I can't wait to see it because that would be smashing. If we can show it during the stream, I'll be happy to do that. Right. So those gigs have changed. So the gig that is going on this weekend is one on the 5th of July, and it's a little matinee gig at the Cricketers. So about 4 o'clock till 6 o'clock, I'm going to be there shouting at people. I'm going to be playing a load of Sweet Chunk songs and various other bits and pieces, and just dicking around for a couple of hours. I'm really looking forward to it. If you're going to be there, if you're in Southampton, come along and we can complain about how people don't pay to go to gigs or whatever. So yes, that's the gigs, that's the housekeeping out of the way. So yeah, keep an eye on the socials and such, and I'll tell you when all the dates are and that sort of thing. It's the usual bits and pieces that you get everywhere, and that, you know, follow me on socials, follow me, like and subscribe, all that bollocks. So that's that housekeeping out of the way. So let's go on to part 1 of the show. If I had a jingle now, it would be playing it now. So part 1 is what I'm meant to be working on now. I have been working my little bollocks off on the album, and I am very excited by it. It has gone well. The tracking is nearly, well, basically it's completely done. The only thing I have to do on my end for the tracks that I've done is I'm just going to go back through everything and make sure that I haven't missed anything, and just make sure the last bits of like the percussion and such are done a bit better, I think. Just tidying up basically. Because I'm ahead of schedule, which is fucking amazing for me, because I've got vocal recording time booked in Andover next Monday, which I'm very excited, with Dan Richardson, who does the work for Grant Sharkey, does all the recording of his albums. Very nice chap. Told you guys about him last week. So that's all booked in. That's going ahead. Very, 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 very excited. I've got a selection of guest musicians actually, which I'm you know, as again, not only telling the guys on Patreon about this sort of stuff, but I also need to tell you guys here on Twitch who come and watch every week, some exciting new news for you chaps. And thank you for the 3-month subscription. Lovely, lovely thing, you. So I've got a selection of guests joining. Some of them you might be aware of. Some of them you do know. Some of them you don't. So I've got a phenomenal trumpeter and multi-skilled musician called Ned Wilkinson, who is a phenomenon on the horn section. He once was in a band that did some superb covers of Weather Report. That if you know about Weather Report, they're basically one of those sort of prog band. And he is superb, and he has kindly offered some time. I'm going to be obviously paying the chap, but I get the feeling he's going to tell me not to pay him, which annoys me when artists do that to me. I want to pay all the musicians, that's why I've got the Kickstarter, but all of the musicians, I just go, nah, I'll do it for free, just be on my album, which is sort of like, what? Awesome. So Ned's going to do some horns. I've got two songs that are going to require some horns for a bit of funkiness, which is going to be great, because I was thinking about just having these programmed horns in. I also thought about using one of the horns behind me that I think you can possibly see over there. If I can turn the screen a little bit that way, you can see some of the bugles, and not the blunderbuss, that doesn't work, but that long hunting horn. But I also have my other hunting horn over here, because people keep giving me the horn. Yes, filthy, I know, I do apologise. So, yes, I'm going to have a professional horn player doing that, which would be lovely. They're going to be working remotely and send it across, but they've got an excellent setup, so I'm going to get that material, add it to my thing, send it to the producer, Lou, who is going to put them all together, which is smashing. I've also got Ian Moore, or Ian Armour, I think his name is actually pronounced, from Scotland, an old friend of mine, who we've known for a long time. We've been threatening to play on each other's records for quite some time now. So we're actually going to do it. And he's going to play piano for me on another 2, maybe 3 tracks. And again, he has refused to take money, and he has basically asked me to be a camp pirate on a concept record he's working on, which is like, you know, I don't think I could play a camp pirate. I don't think I can. That's within my range. For those of you who don't know, I'm being sarcastic as fuck. I am really looking forward to that, so that's great. I'm on another record. Also, some vocalist guests, which I'm rather excited about. So, a couple of weeks ago, I was chatting to Paul Aubrey, also known as Professor Elemental, or MC Elemental, an old friend of mine. And we've done all kinds of shows together and gigs, and we've appeared on each other's records before and done. He's rapped for Sweet Chunks, and Sweet Chunks have done sets for him, and we've been playing together for a long time. And he said he really wanted to be on this new record. And there's a song that's if you're on the Patreon, you've got the demos of Let People Enjoy Stuff. And Paul said, I was going to do a song called Let People Enjoy Stuff. I'm not going to now, because this is considerably better. And then asked, can I be on this? And I said, yes, of course. Outside, I was, yes, why wouldn't you? That would be great. I'd look forward to having a bit of Professor Elemental rap on my solo record. That's fantastic. Of course, 20-year-old me was going, oh my God! Which is just hilarious. So yeah, he's going to be on that, which I'm really looking forward to. And old friend of the show, as I keep saying for some reason, Grant Sharkey is going to also appear as a guest vocalist, because Paul and I were chatting when we were doing this concept record, this idea for a concept record next year. So I haven't even finished this album. I'm already working on another one, because of course I am. So he's so Paul was suggesting that a couple of things. One, instead of using my voice as the eldritch horror in Can I Have Your Name, that I get a guest vocalist in with a really nice low voice, and I immediately thought, who has a beautiful low voice but also sounds a little bit rapey? And that's Grant Sharkey to a T. So Grant is going to be a special eldritch horror, a sexy eldritch horror, on the new album, which, you know, he doesn't know that yet, but I have a feeling that he's going to really love that idea, and it's going to be creepy as fuck, which is kind of what we both really like. So that's going to happen. And also Lily, the good lady riding instructor, her indoors, and also the prof, both independently of each other, suggested that as much as I like doing the radio presenter voice, that I should have someone else, because again, this makes sense if you've heard the demos, that instead of me doing the radio talks, that I should get someone else with a nice radio voice to be the radio announcer. So it sort of separates it out with my weird songs and my weird posho voice from the radio DJ that also sounds pissed off that they've been forced to do this stupid concept album. So I may, some of you who listen to the Asylum radio show that I did for 10 years may be aware of a radio chum of mine that I've known through Sweet Chunks for decades now, called Russell Hill. And he was on Express FM. He's now retired as well, because it's just, he was an absolute professional, one of the best radio DJs I've worked with myself, and in any community station there was no one as good as him. I was really surprised that he didn't get on commercial radio, because his links were perfect. He was the complete antithesis of me, which is why I think as DJs we liked each other, because we were so completely different. I am obviously rambling chaos and he is pure rehearsed order, and you know, he is an absolute, like an encyclopedia of country and western music and country and western artists and such. Had a lot to do with the C2C shows, you know, the country to country, Britain and American sort of exchange program of country acts and such playing in London, and he basically knew all of the acts. It was on first name basis with everyone, because he was just an absolute, well, number one, he's a lovely man, but he supported country music in the UK like religiously. So we'd go out and travel and see these people and meet them and help support acts that were basically building their careers. So yeah, he's very, very good, and also has the smoothest radio voice I've ever encountered. So I asked him a couple of weeks ago, would you mind recording a little sample on your phone? Just so I thought I'd test it to see, because he was up for the idea, and I thought, could you just record? And now you have on Radio 4 an indulgent, self-obsessed project from a reject from a folk band that no one's heard of. It's time for Woodland Gothic. And he did. And it sounded fucking amazing. So he is going to be a guest. So yeah, it's nice. I've got lots of little guesties and such like that. Funny enough, I think I was chatting with Mike and Ash about whether or not they would be on the record. And I think, because originally, I think I said on the last Fizzy Brain, oh, I fucked that one up a bit. Yeah, that's knackered. That Mike and I originally were going to record the album together, and he was going to help me with the writing, because Mike wanted to continue writing and develop some ideas. But basically fatherhood got in the way, and he has no time to do it, poor fucker. So basically both him and Ash and myself are sort of going, well, if it's going to be solo, and why not fully do it myself, and then we can come back and work together in the future kind of thing. So I'm just going to catch up with the chat, because I was going off on one there for a second, because there's been quite a few chats going on. So there we go. Man, can I just thank you for being so much like a bee in my condition, my mother. You're very welcome, Danny. Anytime, mate. You've been, the two of us have been chatting quite a bit online and sort of catching up and such, and so yeah, it's an absolute pleasure, mate. You're wonderful company. So whenever we chat, so yeah, if you ever need anything, just give us a shout. No worries at all. I doubt Eldritch Horror Sharky could say anything worse than regular Sharky has to come up with. That's a good point. The lyrics that he's singing are going to be quite straightforward for him, but I'm sure he can make them dark and disgusting. B-Sydes does have a very nice radio voice. Yeah, I did think about that. He was my if Russell wasn't available to do it, I was going to get B-Sydes. Oh, hats off! So I need to get myself a hat. Beg your pardon. Whoop. Right, there we go. Modelling the Trailer Trash All for Jolly hat. I don't know what you want to do. There we go. Now I'm in a 90s metal band. Favourite music jokers, have you heard it? Cross between country and rap is crap. Yeah. Hick hop is awful and I love it. I've heard, yeah, there's a band called Gangster Grass, speaking of that, which is like country and country and hip hop together. Sounds absolutely smashing. But yeah. Al has described, so I just thought that AI has described B-Sydes as quite Miles Kennedy-like, but I like the idea of Al, this person called Al, who is an AI describing it. Yeah, I can see that actually. One of the things that I've always said, I mean, it's a slight tangent away from what I'm currently working on. Little transdino colouring. Yeah, we've got colouring going on as well. Fantastic. So many things at once. It's marvellous. Right, anyway, sorry, this within the tangent, then we'll come back to the album. So, yeah, B-Sydes is one of those musicians that I have always had a huge amount of respect for. I mean, the two of us are dear friends as well, so we've been friends for years. But he is one of my favourite musicians on our circuit because he's an absolute metalhead. He doesn't play the simple chords. He plays really interesting, but not wanky. Like he's not trying to show off. Like, look how good I am. He's playing difficult chords, but sound simple, and it's just so you don't get overwhelmed by it. But also, his sound is not the usual singer-songwriter thing, and so one of the things that myself and Ash and quite a few others on our circuit do is we spend a lot of festivals furiously angry that B-Sydes isn't headlining, and we've been doing that for a while. Where I'm not a fucking AI. Just seeing if you're watching. B-Sydes could read bedtime stories. Yeah. Remind me. Say that again in about. Say B-Sydes could read bedtime stories in about 3 minutes, because that's something I want to cycle back round to. Yeah. So the album itself. Yeah. So. I've got my guests sorted out, doing the vocals on Monday. I've got some gang vocals to do and some writing. So basically, over the next week, because I want to get this done before I go to 2000 Trees, I want to try and get as much of it laid down, and also the lyrics rewritten and such like that, which is going to be quite a lot of fun actually, because most of it's done. It's just a case of refining it and getting it done. But yeah, so it's nearly done. So it's getting really, really excited. And also it's absolutely brilliant to just... because one of the things I've been doing, those of you who've obviously seen my shows recently in live know this delightful terror that is my electric banjo, which is absolute filth. But also, what a lot of people don't realise is that this isn't the only pickup. There is a pickup under here. And the pickup under here is what's called a double humbucker. For those of you that aren't musicians and are normal people, that is a double humbucker. That is designed to have a filthy, loud metal sound and chug like a motherfucker. That is in the banjo for no reason other than the banjo was made by nutjobs who make metal guitars. So... And as this is my fucking album, and I'll cry if I want to, I have distorted the banjo, and I made it even heavier than I did during the demos. So the album already sounds fat as fuck. I've not fully gone into chugging along, and but there's a lot of silliness in there. And for those of you who've heard the demos, you ain't heard fuck all yet, because it's gotten even louder. But in a good way. So, yes. And that reminds me of another tangent that I'm going to end up doing, musically speaking. I've mentioned before that I was interested in doing docu-metal, which is a genre of metal that I want to create myself. I realised when fucking around with the banjo that I'm going to do an EP of those tracks after I've done the concept record, well, I'm going to work on them over the next year or so, and just basically do an EP of heavy riff work with simple drumming, and then instead of shouting or screaming, it's going to be documentary style spoken word. It's basically, let's say, spoken word. It's just rhyming couplets talking about historical events, not just war. SOUTHAMPTON have done that very well. It's going to be all kinds of different bits and pieces. B-Sydes could read bedtime stories. Exactly. And he's one of the people that I've spoken to about having as a guest in Documental, where he can read out simple, read stories, but also read historical drama as well. Because I like the idea of doing bits of Jane Eyre over metal backing tracks. And I think Ben, well, actually, Ben, you said this before, Ben actually likes the idea of that as well. Right. Cool, that wasn't for me, so you guys turn away having your independent conversations in the chat there. Loving that. Isn't it nice? Little community and everything. Right, so what this, I'm now on the stage of stamping things. So this is my lovely, archaic, beautiful sounding sorry, I got confused by reading something with half the context. So I'm now going to make some weird clunky noises as I'm talking, because I'm going to be making badges. For this, I'm going to need some of these, and a bag to continue putting the stickers in. Right, so talked about the album. Next, we've got the album, the tour, and all bits and pieces coming towards that as well. So I've been sending emails off the last couple of weeks. I'm getting replies. I think I've got about 2/3 of the dates filled up, which is good. Loving that. So it basically means that I won't be going bankrupt this autumn. I've got a couple of new venues. I'm going all the way up to, I think I said last week anyway, I am going to be going up to Newcastle, which I'm very excited to do. It will probably be a financial disaster, but there's going to be enough other shows in other places where I will survive. So, and that is the basic thing of how I do my gig booking. I keep on making sure that on each tour I'm going to be doing at least one, maybe two shows in venues that I've never played before, in a city that I've probably never played before, and starting to build up a new impression. But plenty of places that are going to be sort of as close as I can get to safe bets, basically, and making sure that, you know, as much as it is good fun to play all over the place, I can't afford to play in front of one man and a dog for the whole of the tour. But a couple of shows where that happens, but I impress the venue enough that they think, you know what, there's something here, let's take a risk, we'll book you again and let's see if we can make this work. Which, quite frankly, is a really nice compliment to hear, especially at the moment when we've got venues barely staying alive. When a venue sees you play, and this happens to other people as well, is that when you've got something interesting and by the luck of the draw you have a shit turnout, and they actually they can have the sort of vision to see past it and go, you know what, there is something here, when they're also desperately trying to stay afloat. It's a good thing. We can't have too much of that. Oh no. So there's a few reliable venues, I say old faithful venues. It's going to be nice. So yes, so I'm excited about the tour as well. I'm not going to be doing a Gaz Brookfield continually on the road, never stopping till I die. I do plan to sort of have downtime, mainly because my wife demands it, and she's right, I should have downtime. Speaking of which, at the weekend, I wanted to just, even though I'd made loads of extra ground with the album, and I was ahead of schedule, I was just sort of going, I should keep working, I should keep working. And Lily, bless her, took me out of the house, effectively tricked me into helping her look after her ponies. And we ended up going to the horse yard, setting up tents, staying overnight, having a nice little sort of picnic lunch, and drinking a load of cheap cocktails. And it was fucking marvellous. It was something I definitely needed. So one-to-one time in the country, away from everyone else, in a tent, booze. Although, as it is with all fucking cats, there's a cat there called Costa, who's a charming little fucker and knows it. And whenever we stay in a tent, he will try and climb on me. Every fucking time. because that's basically what he does. And I effectively get, well, a horrific allergic reaction. Well, I say horrific, that doesn't mean I go to hospital or anything, I just can't properly sleep. And the thing is, I am not used to having cats lie on me. Lily is, she's had cats most of her life. So she is used to having a small creature climb on her and sit on her, and she doesn't see it as a threat. Me, not used to that at all, definitely not. So when I feel a tiny little creature pawing at me, it makes me wake up and want to throw it across the room. I say room, across the tent, which isn't very good. I don't want to do that to any animal. I like animals far more than people. But I have to admit my patience is a lot thinner if you try to wake me up with your fat fucking cat ass while I'm trying to sleep. But, you know, c'est la vie. Either way, it was absolutely lovely. An excuse to be out in the smelly old woods with the smelly old animals, away from the smelly old people with the smelly old cars. So, yeah, it was an absolutely lovely little weekend. And also, I forgot to mention as well, I went to Greengrass Grazing, which is a lovely little festival outside of Salisbury, a little place called the Bar, or the Bar, B-A-A venue, which is basically someone's put a bar in the middle of a field, and then occasionally festivals pop up around it, and they do a couple of shows there throughout the year. They're all sort of like mini festival kind of things, and they're always, yeah, really, really nice little events. The team there are fantastic. It's a lot of the guys that do work at the Winnie Gate. So top team, lovely people, and friends of the show. So it was absolutely marvellous, and the crowd there were absolutely fantastic. We did, of course, have one of those nice little moments. It was a Sweet Chance gig, so part of our farewell tour. After 13 bloody years, that we did the. Has anyone here seen us before? Hooray! Has anyone here not seen us before? Hooray! Well, this is going to be the last time because we're splitting up. And I did have a couple of people ask me, basically going, "Oh, is that a joke, right?" It's like, no, we are actually splitting up. Sorry, but there was something I actually said on stage, which I think you guys will find quite funny. So when we announced we were splitting up, and we said, you know, we're staying friends and all that sort of thing, and everyone went, "Yeah, sure, whatever, yeah." We've joked about that on here a couple of times, but what was really quite funny is that people were genuinely getting more and more worried about it the closer we got towards the final show, or the final tour. And then once we started playing, because we took a couple of months off because like Mike's at a crucial stage with growing the little one, so we were having some downtime anyway. Even if we hadn't split up, we would be enjoying a bit of quiet time. And once we got back on stage and started insulting each other again, everyone was like, "Oh, all right, you're fine. You do actually but you actually are friends." So I'm being just fuck. Yeah, it is funny that when people see us insulting each other, they're like, "Oh, you are still friends." Like, yeah. Why would we lie about it? C'est la vie. So yeah, it's just the green grazing gig. That was marvellous. Merch, obviously I'm working on some bits. I'm getting some more bees merchandise made. I've told you guys before about the merch for Woodland Gothic, but I'm going to get a few bits and pieces because I want to sort of sell off as much of the merch as we've got from Sweet Chunks, and we're made a nice big dent in that. So we're going to be ordering possibly, depending on how much we go through the bees. We're tempted to do a short run of like a "This is the last ever Sweet Chunk" shirt, and then like sell it online, but also sell it at the gig. Like something like Mike's Having Kids a Fuck Him tour or something like that. I don't know. Just something with preferably swearing on it, so we can hide our emotions and not have to deal with them like adults. Yeah, so merch is going along nicely, getting some more bits and pieces, more patches. That's the other thing as well. I'm also looking at getting a load of stickers done because I went to see Andrew O'Neill at Cheltenham Pride a few weeks back. They did, beg your pardon, a genius little idea where they had stickers where on the back of the stickers were contact details. And I thought that's actually really good, like a sort of a little wee, what's it called, business card kind of thing, but with stickers. Yay! So I'm going to steal that idea. Get a load of those printed off. Because I realised, because I think I spoke on here about me thinking about changing my performance name over to Aubrey Nutter, and using my grandmother's maiden name, because it's easy to remember, Aubrey T. Nutter. But I call myself Aubrey Tudor Nutter, named after the presenter, the second presenter of the Crystal Maze. A job that I've always wanted to have. But to be fair, I would just live in the Crystal Maze and they could build a film around, the TV show around me. But yeah, I'm still debating whether or not I'm going to change it over. I've got plenty of time. I mean, if I do it, I'm going to do it with the album and go from there and see. But because that's the thing, because I know how there's the amount of people that have problems trying to spam my fucking name when they're searching for my stuff online after a gig, and I say, what do I search for? Aubrey Blakeledge, and they're like, yeah, those are words. So having little stickers will probably make my life a lot easier, because especially if I'm going to be putting stuff onto Spotify and all that bollocks. Yes. So that's the end of part 1. So that's the useful stuff that I'm working on, that is basically helping my career along, making sure that there's money in my wallet and other such things like that, unlike the people that haven't paid their fucking invoices. Such a self-employed life. So part 2. Also, yeah, actually, while we're doing a little break, so if anyone is still working on arty stuff at the moment, can I have a quick update on how you're getting on with your creative bits, or if anyone's changed their drinks and such, because it'd be interesting to do a little bit in the middle here where we see how the colouring's getting on, how the painting's getting on, and how the crocheting is getting on. It's a nice little update, I think, like sort of crafting corner here on the on Fizzy Brain. A bit.ly for my link tree. I'm not 100% sure what that is, if I'm honest. Yeah, the Bees shirt does get a lot of interesting looks for people. One of my favourite things about the Bees fucking awesome t-shirt that it's still our biggest selling t-shirt we've ever had for a long time. The amount of teachers that have it and have worn it into school, which is still fucking great. I haven't done a shorted link. I just actually use aubreyblakeledge.com. Link, so it's just easy to go to that, and that has all my links on there, rather than getting short links and playing around with it that way. Okay, so update on the crafting. Just doing some white spots on the dino tail. It's colouring with paint. Paint colouring. Colouring. And still quite a lot on the handle to finish. We'll come back to that a bit later in the programme. So let's continue with our crafting while we go on to part 2. What am I actually working on? Well, I actually realise as we come towards the end of our time together, despite the fact that all the technical issues put back at the start, I've not actually been doing anything that's really, not to say distracting, but isn't work related. Because I've been, like most spare time I've had, I've been in the studio recording stuff and loving every second of it. Like I said, I've been just making loud, really weird noises. I think if I was to say that one thing that I was doing in the studio that had nothing to do with the album, it was just putting all the heftiest fucking distortion onto the banjo, and then just riffing along, crunching along with a riff, and also just playing Pantera riffs, but making them gay, which is always good fun. You may have missed technical issues, but basically OBS updated and it's been working like a complete twat. And of course it only updated literally 10 minutes before I went on air, so I need to look at it, sort out the technical issues, and that's why I'm on the phone. So you're up to date. So yeah, messing around with banjos aside, it's basically I've had some time to catch up on on the old reading. Still working on Percy Jackson. Coming towards the end of that. Nice little book. I think I need to read more of those. But I'm also thinking about what delightful audiobook to go to next. So I did listen to Mel Brooks audiobook. Oh, need a name for the dino dude now. Okay, everyone, you know what to do. If you could give us a description or a little breakdown of the character, and then I'm sure the chat will help you name your dino dude. I mean, that's basically how most of my records get named, is just these nutters who are on this. The chat start coming up. I think it's Clarence. There we go. Nice and simple. Clarence Queer. That's a joke for you Portsmouth-based people. There we go. I've slightly upset myself with that. Well, I upset myself. I just sort of, I think, you know, I can't help that really. There we go. There you go. Right, I'm sorry, talking to the stomp thing, not you guys. But, yeah, so I've mostly been reading and being warm. Far too bloody warm while sleeping, as I'm sure all of you can sympathise with and have it because you've experienced the same thing. My sleeping pattern has been thrown out the fucking window. But there we go. They're a cute little trans dino hugging an octo friend and drinking juice. Little trans dino hugging an octo friend and drinking juice. I just did a bad attempt at doing Snoop Doggy Dog there. Snoop Dino Dog. Yeah, just being warm. That's the other thing. I've been, because it's Glastonbury period, I have been watching the Glastonbury, which is what I do this time of year. And there's obviously all the controversy with that, which is everyone covering themselves with glory with that one again. Another, I don't know. Yeah, you've heard all the discourses, you've made your own minds up and everything. I don't think there's any point in me wasting time on my stream. Everyone's knows what they think about it. I don't think there's going to be much point in moving forward and making this stream another place where people can rant and rave at each other about something that they can't change. Anyway, it's more important to name a dinosaur than it is to do that. But I will say, and I said this here for the music, look, watch. Fuck the Israeli Defence Force, they're killing kids. And we should stop sending arms to Israel because the Israeli government used those arms to indiscriminately bomb hospitals, schools, and they're actively targeting civilians. This has been proven by the UN telling the BBC, who've reported on it. So it's not rumours, they are literally like bombing kids. So we need to stop that. And the government is run by a piece of shit that's using this war to further his own gains and of course cover up the fact that he was about to be impeached in his own country for fraud and tax evasion before this all kicked off. So he is an untrustworthy piece of shit. They're called Benjamin Netanyahu, and he's a fucking cunt. He's a fucking cunt that needs to stop what he's doing and stop murdering kids. It's not hard to stop murdering kids. And if you're out there murdering kids, then stop it, because it's fucking disgusting. And we are living in a world where we don't want kids fucking murdered. You see that? Didn't threaten anyone. Didn't threaten death or violence on anyone. And also, I didn't chant the name of a banned terrorist organisation or people who also do damage to other human beings as well. It's not hard to do that. So, yeah. Would it have been would what I have said if I was in the same position as certain people who did say questionable things that are actually illegal in this country? Would it have made the same difference? I don't think it would have. Because if those people were trying to find excuses to shut me up by accusing me of things, they would do that anyway. But the difference is, I can't be arrested for what I just said, because I haven't threatened anyone. So therefore, I wouldn't be able to be shut up. I would be protected by free speech, because I haven't threatened any other human beings. Whether or not they deserve it or not. Whether or not I think they deserve it or not. It's not hard. Anyway, that's my thought on it. It's one of those situations where you can be right about something, but you can still be a fucking twat about it. And I think some twats have been right about something, and there are much better ways of going about it. But the only people they've harmed is themselves, really. So, whoops. Right, Vaguely Trex. They have a chonky fella. Ah, okay. So we have a Vaguely T-Rex chonky fella. Who needs a name? Transosaurus Rex. That's technically a species, isn't it? There we go. Well, I think we've come towards the end of the stream, actually. Like I said, normally I have... Most of the stream is made up by the stuff that I'm doing instead of actually working. But like I've said before on previous streams, I'm not sort of having a go at the fact that my mind wanders and I want to do strange things, even though this is very much a practical distraction, what I'm doing in the background. Being creative or relaxing or even doing fuck all when you're you're still taking time to work hard, it's still a good thing. There's nothing wrong with doing fuck all, provided you enjoy it. That's the thing. So I went from seeing it as a very negative to turning it into a positive thing. I used to say it was like the lengths I would go to avoid doing work. That's not what I was doing. I wasn't avoiding work. I was just stimulating my brain by doing other things. So if it keeps my brain on track and running well, so when I am doing the work that is important, whether it's merch or recording or whatever, which has been going very, very well, then a bit of distraction is worthwhile. What's the thing from Willy Wonka? That's probably a different quote that Gene Wilder does. A bit of nonsense now and then. Oh, what is it? A bit of nonsense now and then. Something the wisest man helps the wisest man. Someone in the chat must know this, or Google it if you wouldn't mind, because my hands are full making badges. So, what is it? Little silliness every now and then enriches the hearts of the wisest men. Something like that. If not, that's a phrase I quite like. But yeah, coming up to 10 o'clock. Yeah. Normally I'd be in the middle of all the weird shit I'd be doing right now. I'll admit, I did nearly think about painting my little Khan the Betrayer, and just having a little camera like really close by as I painted him, like have him there and just me painting the side of his head, having Khan cam. Are you Genghis Khan or a Genghis Kant? Are you Khan the Betrayer or Kant the Betrayer? But God, that's such a stupid joke, isn't it? Anyway. Yeah. Apologies if, you know, because it's one of those funny things. When I'm working, like this week is one of those weeks where it's going to be a little bit dull for the streams compared with others, because it's basically me just working on an album, which, I don't know, actually, it's a good little sort of little tangent, aside kind of thing for you guys. Has anyone in chat been in a recording studio while a band's recording, and not recording your own stuff, recording someone else's? Even if you're just doing, let's say, even if you're doing some guest work on someone else's stuff, but you're just, you know, you're not doing anything at that time. One of the things you find out from recording studio sessions, even if you're one of the band that is doing the recording, if you're not doing anything, it's the most boring shit you can do. It's so incredibly dull. Which is why, you know, that I never understood why they decided to do like 9 hours of that Beatles movie where they had footage of them recording and they cut it down to 9 hours. It's sort of like, yeah, you've fussed in the most dull part of the creative process. Dull but necessary. I think everyone sort of thinks it's just loads of people just sitting around going, yeah, let's come up with a track, and then every 5 minutes solid gold comes out of their arse or something. But it's like, no, it's incredibly dull. It's mostly people just going, fuck, and then just, no, I'll record it again. Just go again. No, you can drop me in 5 seconds more. All right, I'll get it this time. Okay? Fuck! No, I didn't come in at the right time. Sorry, I'll do it again. Go back to the beginning. I've got it. No, it's fine. I don't need a break. I don't need a fucking break. I just want to get it done, all right? I'm just getting a bit annoyed myself. It's fine. No, I can do it. It's absolutely fine. No, I know the part. I know the fucking part, you patronising cunt. I know what I'm doing. Shut up. Just press fucking record. Thank you. Oh, shit, I missed the start again. For fuck's sake. Wait, no, I'll come back round. Keep it running. I'll just play it a bar late. It's fine. Or just move it on tracking. It's fine. It's a quiet part anyway. I'm only doing like, what, 14 bars? How many bars am I doing? What song is it? I'm playing the wrong fucking song. Fuck. No. Oh, I don't know. Fuck off. No, that one. No, that doesn't work. Yeah. And that is basically everything being said for about 12 hours. It's dull as fuck. But, you know. It's kind of like the working environment equivalent of Don't Meet Your Heroes. It's not the people at all, it's just that you sort of hope that it'd be like a dream factory, a place where dreams and art is created. It's not, it's actually a very dull, sweaty room with people going over and over and over and over the same bit of music 50 fucking times because they want to get it right. There we go. Okay, my friends, I think we'll start rounding it off there. Obviously, there'll be a little bit of chit-chat after this on the Twitch stream, so if you're watching this on catch-up or anything like that, if you want to get involved in the chat, which won't be on here, come along and watch live every single Tuesday at 9 o'clock till about 10, well, maybe 11 sometimes, where we do this, what you've seen, and then a bit more talking absolute rubbish. So yes, it's a bit of a rundown of what we talked about so far. So part one, what I'm meant to be working on. I've been recording the album, all the tracking's done, so all the guitars, the bass, percussion, banjos, distorted banjos, the other weird stuff I keep putting in that aren't necessary, including harmonicas, kazoos, explosions, tape recorders, screaming people, tremolo guitars, you know, it's all there. And that's all been laid down. I've got a selection of guest musicians and artists who are going to be joining from all around the world, actually, which is quite exciting. So some guys from Florida, guys from Scotland, and then I've got a little core bunch of delightful people here in the UK who can help me do some recording as well. So yeah, it's going to be smashing, and I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait for you all to hear it, obviously. And I think what I'm going to do as well is we'll do like I think when it's done and it's ready, I think maybe like as a sort of little sneak peek for you guys, I might do a listen party on here. So basically we'll just play it and I'll talk bollocks over the top of it. I'll basically ruin it for everyone. So yeah, that's really, really, really exciting. Got to get the artwork and such like that as well. There's sort of lots of things coming through, so that's all good. The autumn tour is looking nice. That's going to be basically a series of album launch shows. It's going to be lovely. Green Grass Grazing was a lovely little festival, wonderful little crowd, and a fun little weekend. And then building 500,000 tons of merch, including these badges that you see me making. And yeah, and so what I've actually been working on, reading books, being really, really, really warm, and watching Glastonbury. So it's a nice trio of things. So if you want to support my musical endeavours and support this madness that is my job, making badges and making albums and blowing things up with recording equipment, there's different ways of supporting me. You can go on Kickstarter, because that's still there if you haven't joined already, where you can get sort of pledge and get a copy of the album, or you can follow me on which is just Kickstarter, search for Woodland Gothic, you'll be able to find it. Also search for Aubrey Blakeledge, you'll be able to find it. Search Aubrey Blakeledge on Patreon as well, and for just £3 a month you can get access to basically all my material, all my merch, all those bits and pieces I send out to my Patrons when they've reached a certain sort of amount of money through their bits and pieces. I send out new t-shirts, I send out records, albums and such, because that ready little stream of cash coming through pays my tax bill and all that sort of stuff, and basically means that I can keep doing this. So yeah, so you want to do that. But you can also just come watch this on Twitch, give me some subscriptions if you want to, or just watch. So find me on Twitch, Blue Sky, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Bandcamp, Spotify. Well, before you go to Bandcamp, before you go to Spotify, search for Aubrey Blakeledge if you want to find my stuff. If you want to find my music, you can still find the Sweet Chunks Band, which will also be on Bandcamp and on Spotify and on YouTube. But I'm also going to be putting my new album on Spotify, which is great, so follow it there. Yeah, and so that's it. So if you want to see if I'm on a platform, search for it, and then see if just search Aubrey Blakeledge and see if I'm on there. Basically, I was about to put on the screen the credits, which I normally run at this point, but obviously I can't because the computer's not working, so I'm just going to have to read them out. So, like this, so big thank you to all my glorious patrons, whether they still be on the Sweet Chunks Band Patreon or whether on my Aubrey Blakeledge one. Thank you very much for supporting the Sweet Chunks Band, supporting me and keeping music going and all that underground music stuff. And a big thank you. Oh my god, you're eating too much. It's too bloody hot and sweaty. A big thank you to Alan Fluker, Alison Piercy, Andrew Harrison, MBE, who's currently at Wimbledon as one of the security there, having a smashing time. Chris Freeman, Claire Hibbard, Danny, Dave Grant, Dennis, Edward Butler, Edward Hamster, Hamstar, beg your pardon, Jen Wiseman, Jules Malone, Karen Martin, Kaylee Woodland, Kingsfoil, the band, that's Tim Summerfield, by the way, I keep forgetting to say that, Mike Wiles, that guy, Murray Turner, Puzzle the Cheetah, Rachel Lowe, Radish, Rich Grove, Rosemary Debney, Ruth Castell, Samantha Hannah, Sarah Jane, Sharon Jessup, Smoke and Hide, who's actually in the chat, hello, Toby Rogers, Wessex Girl, and Ziggy Woodward. You can join these legends for just £3 a month over at Patreon. And if you do, thank you very much. But if you're watching this on YouTube, that is the end of the stream. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. Have a wonderful wherever you are. You lovely people. And if you have a drink in your hand, raise it up and put it in your face. And please rise for the national anthem, which is, I don't know, the Muppets theme. Play that and then salute it. Feels kind of weird